Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got our daily NBA predictions for February 21st. We've got 9 games today in the National Basketball Association, and obviously we are going to predict every single one of them like we've been predicting every single NBA game this season. And before we get into the predictions, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more daily college basketball. Well, that too. And NBA predictions here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our college basketball best bets. Make sure to check that video out. Link is in the description down below. If we get 125 likes on that college basketball best bets video, we'll do 10 best bets tomorrow for Saturday. And also make sure to go check out our UFC Fight Night Seattle predictions. Henry Cejudo, Song Yadong in the main event this weekend from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Make sure to check that video out. Linked in the description down below, along with our new channel, Greedo Plays MMA. Make sure to subscribe. You can still become one of the first 100 subscribers on that channel, so make sure to subscribe to this channel, obviously the one you're watching this video on, and Greedo Plays MMA immediately. All right, let's move on now to the first of our 9 predictions today with the National Basketball Association, and we start in Cleveland, Ohio for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. The Knicks are coming off a game yesterday where they went life and death with the Chicago Bulls. Now they won, they beat the Bulls, and obviously everyone in that, we talk about the 3-team race for the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference between Chicago, Philly, and Brooklyn. They all lost, so there you go, the Bulls still in the play-in for now. Great. The Knicks went life and death with that team yesterday. So I did say Cat and Jalen Brunson were going to have to play 45 minutes last night to win. They legitimately did that. Well, Brunson didn't play, but Brunson did play, not 45 minutes. He played 38. Cat actually played 45 minutes. Precious Achiuwa played 46. Tom Thibodeau basketball, man. These guys are going to be gassed. We say it all the time. Oh, New York's going to get into the playoffs. They're going to be screwed once they get in the playoffs because these guys are going to be spent, obviously, from playing these big minutes every night in the regular season. Well, again, it didn't matter too much prior to the All-Star break because, all right, they're going to get their break for a week. It's a straight-on sprint now to the postseason, especially for the Knicks. That's just how Thibodeau coaches, all right? This team's going to be gassed, second night of a back-to-back. The injuries are piling up, kind of, right? I mean, we don't know if OG Anunoby or Josh Hart are going to give it a go tonight. Obviously, neither of them played yesterday. We'll see if they play this game in Cleveland. But even if they do, right? I mean, Cat's coming off playing 45. Jalen Brunson played 40 last night. And yeah, Cleveland had a game yesterday, but they played the Brooklyn Nets in a game that really wasn't all that competitive. We told you Cleveland was going to cover last night, and I believe they did. Oh, were they 14.5? No, they were 12.5. They covered. Yeah, they beat the Nets yesterday by 13. Donovan Mitchell doing Donovan Mitchell things. Jared Allen with 20 boards in that game. And again, Cleveland is a dominant squad. They're right now the best team in the East. Are they the team to beat? It's probably still Boston, but who knows? We'll see. Again, we are getting to the playoffs in another couple months, right? But Cleveland is a fully healthy team. I love the starting lineup, obviously. Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Mobley, Allen, and the bench unit, of course, is great. And again, it's only better now, obviously, with the DeAndre Hunter pickup, obviously, from the Atlanta Hawks. I'm taking Cleveland to win, obviously, and I'm taking the Cavaliers to cover as well. They are 8.5-point favorites at home. They play fast, obviously. The game's in Cleveland, and they didn't have to play the most competitive game. And obviously, they didn't have to play the extra time like New York had to play yesterday. I think everything kind of favors the Cavaliers to get this one done. So we are taking the Cleveland Cavaliers and their 3 All-Stars, Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, to win at home here against the New York Knicks. Give me Cleveland to win and cover at home. We move on to our second game of the day, and we go to Orlando, Florida. We've got the Orlando Magic hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. Both teams coming off of second halves of back-to-backs. Both teams playing Eastern Conference squads. The Magic winning yesterday in Atlanta, 114-108. A huge comeback victory for the Magic, led by Paolo Banchero, scoring 36 points against that Hawks team, which is just Trae Young. And the Grizzlies, like we said yesterday, going to Indiana and losing to the Pacers, giving up 50 points in that second quarter to Indiana. I keep telling you guys, Indiana's legit, all right? Don't be surprised if the Pacers mess around. Just don't be surprised if they find their way into the finals this season. I'm just saying. Just don't be surprised. Okay? When we get an Indiana Thunder finals, just watch out. I'm just saying. I'm hoping the Lakers can still get it, but I don't know. LeBron, glorious king, man. Where do I even start? Anyways, we like the Grizzlies to go to Orlando and win this game. I know they're coming off back-to-back losses on the road to Indiana and then prior to the All-Star break, obviously, in Inglewood against the Los Angeles Clippers. But I think, honestly, the better team of a second half of back-to-back, I still think is Memphis. Orlando, I'm still kind of hesitant on picking. Sure, they beat Atlanta, right? They beat Charlotte the game before that prior to the break. But it took a crazy effort for them to beat the Hawks. And again, good for them, right? Banchero with a huge night. They beat Atlanta. But at the end of the day, guys, the Hawks are just Trae Young. I love Trae Young. That's why we picked the Hawks, because Trae Young is one of my favorite players in the league. But that's just what the Hawks are. The Grizzlies, you're not just dealing with one player. You're dealing with Ja. You're dealing with Jalen Wells, who potentially might be the Rookie of the Year. You're dealing with Jaren Jackson, Zach Edey, Desmond Bane, that bench unit as well. They're just the all-around better team, and I get it. Memphis has lost back-to-back games. They're still the 3 seed right now in the Western Conference. We kind of expect them, I think, to continue falling. I think if I had to guess, the West is probably OKC, Denver, LA, Lakers, obviously. When the season ends, obviously when the regular season ends, but we'll see. Which would mean Lakers, Thunder in the 2-3. Man. Anyways, give me the Grizzlies to go to Orlando and beat the Orlando Magic. We move on to our next one. I like the Magic, but again, I just think the Grizzlies are better. We go to our next one in our nation's capital. We've got the Washington Wizards hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm actually taking the Wizards to cover. I'd stay away. There's better games today, but you had to press me on a pick, and obviously we give you a pick for every single game. I will take the Wizards to cover the 7.5 points at home here against Milwaukee, but yes, I expect the Bucks to win. Giannis is an elite player in this league. I don't have to tell you that, obviously. Antetokounmpo is legit. I mean, we know that, obviously, and Giannis does what he needs to do, obviously, and the Bucks, in Giannis's return last night, beat the Los Angeles Clippers. A good win for Milwaukee. Second half of a back-to-back, they're taking on a Wizards team who has not played yet post All-Star break. Their last game came on Wednesday, February 12th. It was a game at home against the Pacers where they played Indiana really tight. They were winning for most of that game. Jordan Poole drops 42 points for the Wizards, but Indiana ends up finding a way to win in overtime. Again, the Pacers are just really good. The Wizards now get Milwaukee. Again, post-Kyle Kuzma trade. And yes, this is Kuzma's return to Washington. I'm sure they're going to give him a great video package in Kuz's return to the Capital One Arena here in our nation's capital. But since the Kuzma trade, legitimately, this team has been playing really good basketball. I wouldn't say really good. They're playing better basketball, right? Since they got rid of Kuzma, I think they played the Charlotte game without him, if I'm not mistaken. I know they played the Brooklyn game without Kuz, but regardless, win over Charlotte on the road, win against Brooklyn on the road, 4 straight losses, but sure, a 45-point performance by Jordan Poole in a cover spot against the Cavs. They get blown out by the Hawks, whatever. 10-point loss to the Spurs, all right. And then a 4-point loss in a competitive game against the East, one of the East's best teams, obviously, in the Pacers. Now they get the Bucks coming into town. I don't mind Washington here, and I don't even know if Giannis is going to play. Again, Giannis just coming off that injury. We'll see if he plays the second half of back-to-back. I don't know. If Giannis plays, again, I think the Bucks win. I think the 7.5, though, is still close, just the way that the Wizards have been playing ball recently. And again, that's why, personally, I would completely stay away from this game. Yes, the Bucks are the better team. Do we 100% expect the Bucks to beat the Wizards? Yes, but who knows with the injuries right now? As of right now, as of 2:30 in the morning, Friday morning, the Bucks have nobody on the injury report, but obviously that can change. So I'd stay away from this game. Again, like I said earlier, there are better games to bet on than the Wizards and the Bucks. But if I had to make a pick, yes, Bucks win. But I think, again, with the potential of the Bucks injuries and them coming off a back-to-back, going to DC for this one, I will take a healthy and fresh Wizards team who has not played in more than 8 days to cover the 7.5-point line against the Bucks. But ultimately, yes, I do expect whoever plays for Milwaukee to win this game, even with Chris Middleton making his Wizards debut likely tonight again against his former squad in the Bucks. So one hell of a turnaround too, right? I mean, Middleton been on that team his entire career. His first game as a Wizard, wow, is against Giannis and the guys and his former team. That's wow. That's one hell of a storyline. I wasn't thinking about that. That's something. Middleton back from injury. I don't make the thumbnails till after these videos. That's probably the thumbnail now. Middleton and Giannis in the thumbnail. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Anyways, let's move on to our fourth game. We go to the 6th. The Toronto Raptors take on the Miami Heat. I'm taking Miami here. Both these teams are ice cold. Toronto went on their little streak in early February, and we're like, oh, wow, this team's winning a lot of games. They had won 5 in a row. They beat Boston. They beat the Warriors. They kind of had that thing about them, like, all right, if you go up to Toronto, you're in for a fight, right? You're in for a good one if you're going up to Canada and playing. Yesterday, they didn't really show that. I mean, Cleveland's Cleveland, though. The Cavs put it on them. Cleveland with a 20-plus point victory on the road in Toronto yesterday. But again, that's just the Cavs. Miami comes into town now. They're ice cold, man. The Heat are completely ice cold. They have not played since the break, though, and this is why I'm taking Miami. This is Miami's first game. Toronto just played yesterday in a losing effort, obviously, to the Cavaliers. Miami did lose 4 in a row going into the break and lost 5 of 6. We can start with that Bulls loss on the road at the United Center, a win against the 76ers because everybody beats Philly at this point, but then 4 straight losses to Brooklyn, at home against Boston, in OKC against the Thunder, and then in Dallas, Tyler Hero drops 40 in the loss against the Mavs, but now again the Heat find themselves in Toronto, and they don't return home to South Beach until next Wednesday where they host the Atlanta Hawks. Now, Miami, for all their struggles, are still the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, meaning, yes, right now they would get their 2 chances to potentially win in the play-in. First against the Magic in the 7-8, and then again potentially against the winner of the Hawks, and we'll say just right now the Chicago Bulls in the 10th spot. I don't expect Miami, honestly, to remain here. I think this team's going to fall into the 9-10. I know for as shaky and unpredictable as the Hawks have been, I still think Atlanta can get in that 7-8, which again would leave Miami in that 9-10 matchup potentially. And sure, again, the 9-10 matchup should be an easy win, but if the Sixers can find their way in, for as bad as they have been, you don't want to see the Sixers in a 1-game play-in, because you much rather see the Bulls and the Nets. It's that simple. All right? It's not like the Sixers. Well, the Sixers are just better than those 2 teams. But honestly, Brooklyn hasn't been playing all that bad. If they get Cam Thomas back for the plan, you want to see the Bulls. I'll just be honest. You want to see Chicago. Toronto, though, hey, the Raptors are only 4 games out now. Yeah, the Raptors could go on a run here. They play some tough teams. Anyways, I'm taking the Heat. But the Raptors, man, I mean, they're, of course, building for the future, right? They get Brandon Ingram, he's not playing it. Obviously, BI is still out for about another month. Jakob Poeltl's out tonight, and that's going to be a big factor, right? I mean, because now you look at Jonathan Mobo, and you look at potentially Orlando Robinson and Boucher having to play the 5. You know, that's going to be tough against a Miami team that runs 2 bigs a lot, right? With Adebayo playing the 4, with Khalil Ware at the 5. It's just a very tough matchup for Toronto, because again, who the hell is going to get on both of those guys? They're going to be matching up Scotty Barnes and likely Jonathan Mobo against Ware and Adebayo. It's just a very tough matchup for the Raptors. They are coming off a second half of back-to-back. This is Miami, like we talked about with Washington earlier. This is their first game since the break. So I do think Miami gets it done on the road in Toronto. Give me the Miami Heat to win the game up in Canada and cover the 3.5 points as well. We move on to our 4th game of the video, I believe. And we go to San Antonio, Texas for the 5th game of the video. We go to the San Antonio Spurs hosting the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to take Detroit, hesitantly. I thought about taking San Antonio, but again, this is Detroit's first game since the break. They have not played in 9 days. San Antonio just played last night. They got a game for Wemby. We told you guys, even without Wembanyama, we thought the San Antonio Spurs were going to beat the Phoenix Suns. Why? The Suns play no defense, and we thought De'Aaron Fox was going to tear that team up. And shout out to De'Aaron with 26 points, Stephon Castle leading their team with 10 boards, and Chris Paul leading the team with 10 assists. The guards are all getting it done for San Antonio. Guys, don't be surprised, though, if De'Aaron Fox does get it's a hand surgery or a finger surgery. It's one of the two. Don't be surprised if De'Aaron gets that, because now I feel like it's capture the flag time for San Antonio. Are they going to luck out and win the lottery like that time David Robinson got hurt and they tanked and got Tim Duncan? I doubt it. I doubt they capture the flag. But I do think San Antonio is going to kind of wave the white flag pretty soon. I think they're going to give De'Aaron like a week or 2 here. But unless San Antonio goes on a run, again, beating the Suns a great start. But unless, I think they give this team until March 2nd. I'm serious. They get Detroit, New Orleans, Houston, Memphis, OKC. They're going to reevaluate after that Sunday night game against Oklahoma City in San Antonio, see where they're at. If they don't think they can make a push, they're going to tell De'Aaron to get that surgery, obviously, with Victor Wembanyama being out for the rest of the season. I'm glad Wembanyama will likely be back for next year. The blood clots thing sucks. Obviously, the first thing that that came into mind as soon as I saw that was obviously Chris Bosh. I mean, Bosh, that ended his career, obviously, blood clots. A little bit different of a situation, obviously. Wembanyama a lot younger than when Chris Bosh, obviously, had the blood clot issue in Miami. And on top of that, Wembanyama's is in his shoulder. So, again, Wembanyama is expected to make a full recovery. I hope it doesn't, because Chris Bosh recovered from that, and then it came back, or he got another one, and it just derailed the career and ultimately ended the career of Bosch. I really hope it doesn't happen to Wembanyama. I think Wemby's going to be okay. But again, no Wembanyama for the rest of the season. I think they're going to kind of, phone it in eventually here. Right, when I made my prediction yesterday, I didn't think Wemby was going to be out for the rest of the year. We just thought, Wemby's out with an illness or something. He's going to be out for one game. He'll be back. Well, Wemby's out for the year now. The Spurs coming off second half of back-to-back. They had a great win yesterday, but now they're taking on a Pistons team who hasn't played in 9 days, but they were hot coming into the break. 4 straight wins. Philly, Charlotte, Chicago. I get those aren't the best teams, but the Pistons are the 6th seed right now in the Eastern Conference. They somehow find themselves 3 games over 500, and obviously all the credit in the world has to go to their all-star in Cade Cunningham, who has been killing it all season long. Jaden Ivey's got to be getting closer to returning. Again, I wouldn't expect it for at least another month, but that's another positive sign for Detroit. They get one of their star players back, obviously, and Ivey, who's only 22 years old. I like the Pistons here. Again, second half of back-to-back for San Antonio, with Wembanyama being officially out for the rest of the year. I think Detroit, with their size, should really be able to beat San Antonio. Detroit's just the all-around bigger team when you think about it. I mean, they play Cade at the 1, Hardaway at the 2, Asar Thompson at the 3. Think about what the Spurs run, especially, again, with CP3, De'Aaron, Vassell at the 3. They're starting Bismack Biyombo now at the 5. This team, again, they pulled off a gutsy win last night against the Suns. I give them a lot of credit for that. The Suns don't play defense, and the Suns suck, all right? The Pistons don't actually suck, surprisingly. Give me Detroit to go on the road to San Antonio and take care of the Spurs. We move on now to our next game, and we go to Dallas, Texas, as we have the Dallas Mavericks hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm surprised the line is this close, honestly, and I get it. Dallas's injuries, and obviously they're very injured. But I'm kind of surprised here, honestly. I mean, I get it. The Pels are coming off a victory over the Kings, their final game going into the break. They win that one by 7 in overtime. CJ McCollum with 43 points in that game. Damn. And Dallas is very injured. I mean, you can read off their entire injury report. My goodness. Lively, obviously, out for a while. Clay's out, I think, still. Gadford, obviously, out for a while. AD out for a while. PJ Washington, questionable. Dwight Powell, doubtful. Caleb Martin is out. Who does that even leave them tonight? Obviously, Kyrie and Christie. I assume Najee Marshall at the 3. Kessler Edwards at the 4. Who the hell's playing the 5? Are they going... Oh, God. I guess they're going to have to go... Prosper, right? Yeah. Oh, man. They're just going to play super small tomorrow, which honestly might work because, I mean, the Pels are going to be starting Kelly Olynyk because Evis Missy's out, I believe, right? Again, this is not sustainable. It's not. Oh, Missy's questionable. Oh, man. Nah, Missy's not huge. And Missy's a good player, but he's not, I think, like, the Mavs will be able to manage against that. It's not a sustainable winning strategy, obviously, for Dallas. Obviously, they have no bigs. They don't. And obviously, again, the 80 injury screwing them. And for as bad as Luka's been so far for the Lakers, it's just like, it's ridiculous, the hate that the Lakers and Luka are getting right now. They'll be fine, trust me. It's really screwed is the Mavericks. I mean, I think they beat New Orleans here just for as bad as the Pelicans have been. I'd completely stay away, guys. This is one of the lowest confidence bets I have. Yes, Dallas has been winning even with the injuries. They've won 4 of 5, beating Boston, Houston. They lose a 1-point game in overtime at home against Sacramento, and then back-to-back wins over the Warriors and Heat. Yes, the Mavericks have been able to make it up even with the injuries. This is not a long-term fix, though. It's not. I think they beat New Orleans here just because of how bad the Pelicans have been. And this is a team that you don't entirely need to have size to beat because they don't play super big either. Like, yeah, Zion's at the 4 and Missy or potentially Olynyk are at the 5. But if Olynyk's playing, that's not the most physical big there is, obviously. And the Pels obviously dealing with their own injuries. Again, potentially Missy. Obviously, they traded Ingram. DeJounte Murray obviously out for the year. Expect McCollum to have a big night. But at the same time, Max Christie's been excellent in his new role here with the Mavericks. Kyrie Irving, obviously an all-star. He's, as one reporter said at the All-Star break in San Francisco, I have no question for you, Kyrie. You're just tough, man. And it's facts. You got to give credit to Uncle Drew where there is. And I think the Mavs do get this one done. I'd stay away. There's better games today. There's so much unpredictability with both these squads. But I do think Dallas can win. But down the stretch, man, this schedule is brutal, right? The Warriors on the road, Lakers on the road. They'll probably get Charlotte, but then Bucks, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Memphis, Phoenix, and they kind of suck. San Antonio, Houston, Philly, Indiana, Detroit. Oh, man. This team has one of the hardest schedules left. They're not going to fall out the play-in, but they're definitely not getting out of that. Well, they might win in the play-in, but, like, I don't know. I think the top 6 in the East, and I've said this before, OKC in order, OKC, Denver, Lakers, Grizz, Houston, Minnesota. No, I think Minnesota's going to leapfrog. No, I think Houston's going to stay. Oh, we have that game in a little bit. Houston, Minnesota, which leaves, Lakers, Timberwolves first round. Oh, hell no. Nah, Luka beat him last year. I'll beat him again. Anyways, we'll go with Dallas at home. I'd stay away, but Mavs at home -5.5 here against the Pelicans. Here's what I was just talking about in my potential, who's going to be the 5 seed, who's going to be the 6 seed in the Western Conference. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Houston Rockets. In this specific spot, I will take Houston. Again, a lot of random variables with the Timberwolves tonight. There's so many injuries. Mike Conley questionable with the finger injury. Ant Edwards questionable with the hip injury. Rudy Gobert questionable with the back injury. DiVincenzo has been cleared for non-contact basketball injuries. He's not playing tonight. Julius Randle has been cleared for 5-on-5 activities, but will still be out for a while. So again, what about Gobert? What about Ant? What about Conley? I don't know. It's just a lot of uncertainty around the Timberwolves tonight. And I get it. The Rockets came into the break losing it to the Golden State Warriors. That was the second half of a back-to-back, whatever. They were kind of banged up in terms of just minutes-wise. I think they're going to be okay in this spot. Fred VanVleet is out, so that likely means they go Amen Thompson at the 1 and either Tari Eason. They could start Tate or Whitmore. It'll probably be Tari Eason if I'm not mistaken. But still, I like the Rockets. This is a team that just needed to reset going into the deadline. They, of course, lost like 7 in a row, 6 in a row. Ended up bouncing back, beating the Raptors and the Suns. But again, the Suns are just horrible. I think they're going to be okay here. I think they will beat Minnesota. I think it's going to be a tough game. But again, I just don't know who's playing for the Timberwolves, right? Ant didn't play the All-Star game. Now, obviously, who wanted to play that, obviously, right? But Ant didn't play the All-Star game, so they at least have to kind of sell the injury now. Maybe they do just say, all right, Ant, you're not playing tonight, Prepare for the OKC Thunder. They have back-to-back games on Sunday and Monday against the best team in the NBA, who we're going to talk about in just a few minutes here. But I am going to take Houston in this spot. I like the Rockets still. I know Jalen Green is very off and on, but when Jalen Green's on, he's elite. I love Amen Thompson. I think he's a great basketball player. And Alfred Sengun, obviously, an all-star as well. I'm going to take the Houston Rockets at home. And again, we just don't know who's playing for the Timberwolves, right? Maybe Conley, Gobert, and Ant all play. Still, though, Houston's a good squad. They are. And coming out the break, I think they should be okay. Give me the Houston Rockets to win this game and cover the 3.5 points at home here at the Toyota Center. We go on to our 8th game of the day, and we go to the Delta Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Oklahoma City Thunder go on the road to take on the Utah Jazz. Not much to talk about here. I'm taking the Thunder to win, and I'm taking the Thunder to cover. The second half of the year for the Thunder, I know they lost their last game going into the break against the Timberwolves, whatever, I'm going to forget about that. The second half of the season for OKC, there is really no doubt that they're going to be the number 1 seed in the West. They're 8 games up with the Nuggets, and that's the Nuggets coming off a 9-game winning streak. They are due for regression eventually. The story of the second half of the season for the OKC Thunder becomes, can Shai Gilgeous-Alexander give OKC their second ever... Wait, did Russ win back-to-back? Their second player ever... I forgot KD won it too. Their third ever player to win the MVP. Would it be No, Russ only won in 17, right? Harden won back-to-back, right? Did Harden win back-to-back? Regardless, Russ only won once. So yes, can Shai become the third Thunder player of all time to win the Most Valuable Player award? It's possible. Harden did not go back-to-back. Giannis went back-to-back after him. I feel like Harden was just in control of the league for a longer time on Houston. Regardless, right? KD, Russ, can Shai become the third? It would take a monumental collapse, or knock on wood, and I don't want to even say it, but it would take an injury for Shai to not win the MVP at this point. I mean, I don't know what the odds are at this point, but I gotta assume Shai's running away with it at this point. Shai minus 550, Jokic plus 350. Giannis plus 1,000, then Tatum, and then Karl Anthony Towns is 5th. It's Shai's to lose at this point. So the second half of the season now becomes, how can Shai continue to be the league's leading scorer? He's averaging 33 points a night. And how can the Thunder continue to win games? This is just a game they're going to steamroll the Jazz. It just is. Utah first game coming out the break. That's great. Are they finally healthy? No, they're not. We always say there has to be at least 5 players on the Jazz's injury report, and there is. No Colin Sexton, KJ Martin questionable, Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson questionable, Taylor Hendricks obviously always on the injury report, broken leg. Heal up, bud. No, I have nothing against Taylor Hendricks. I think he's actually a pretty good player. I don't know. Utah, this is just a smash spot for the Thunder. The Thunder are just a much better basketball team. Walker Kessler's a huge influence, too. If Kessler doesn't play, it's game over. I'm serious. Their scores for the Jazz, I'm not going to say they're interchangeable, but, you can get big nights some nights out of Collier, Keontae George, Laurie, Sexton. Walker Kessler is that defensive guy for this team, and he's the base of the squad. And that's why they didn't want to trade him, obviously. They were asking for multiple first-round picks from Los Angeles. They said potentially 2 first-round picks wasn't going to do it for Walker Kessler. For good reason. The guy's a monster. He's one of the best paint protectors in the league. If he doesn't play, this team's screwed. Regardless, I'm taking OKC even with Walker Kessler. I know the last time the Jazz played Thunder, they were close, even in Oklahoma City, but the injuries are piling up for Utah. They've got nothing to play for now. The Thunder have the 1 seed to play for, and they have Shea's MVP to play for. Give me the best player in the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the Oklahoma City Thunder to go on the road and beat the Utah Jazz and cover the 14.5 points. Go to our final game of the night. Don't mind the spot at all for the Sacramento Kings. Don't mind it. Both teams, the Warriors and Kings, 28-27 going into this game. I actually like Sacramento quite a bit here. I do. I think Sacramento post-All-Star break, they've gotten time to get accustomed to the new lineup, obviously, with Zach LaVine. I do think the Kings are actually going to be much better. Do I think they make a run? Probably not. Do I think the Warriors make a run? No, they don't. But I do think the Kings win in this game. I think they do. This team adds Markelle Fultz, which is something. I guess Markel's going to play tonight. Great. But yeah, the Kings and Warriors right now, if the playoff/play-in were to start right now, this is the 9-10 matchup. It's a matchup we've seen before, obviously, in the playoffs the last couple seasons and in the play-in. But I think Sacramento gets the Warriors here. Golden State, obviously, with Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green's out here guaranteeing championships this season as the 10 seed. Now, I'd agreed with pretty much everything Draymond had to say about the All-Star format. Guaranteeing a title? No. I think the Warriors are better. I just don't think they win this game. I don't know. I think Sacramento gets them here. Yeah, Golden State's better defensively. Jimmy Butler III is now on the squad as well. But there's only so much Curry can do. Jimmy's not a regular season player. He's not. He's good, but you're not relying on Jimmy to score for you in the regular season. It's still Curry's squad, and they still expect a lot out of Steph. Right? This is the supporting cast Steph Curry has for the rest of his career and just NBA career in general. It's Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. Figure it out, right? That's what they've given him. Kuminga, I don't think's back yet. He participated in practice, but I don't think they're expecting Kuminga to be back just yet. That's a huge get when he comes back, but I don't think Kuminga's playing in this game. So no come bucket tonight for the Golden State Warriors. So they're still starting Curry, Podziemski, Moody, Jimmy at the 4, and then Draymond at the 5. It's an incredibly small lineup. And obviously we get that Domas versus Draymond matchup. I think Domas wins it. I know, again, that's a physical matchup, but I do like Sabonis, obviously, over Draymond Green. The Kings get Jonas Valanciunas off the bench. Obviously, Guy Santos likely the backup 5 tonight. Or no, Guy's playing the 4, so it'd be Kevon Looney. Quentin Post is there too, obviously. And Trace is just kind of out of the rotation now. I do wonder a lot what Kerr does. Yeah, wow, Trace just completely out of the... Damn. They've just moved Trace out. Sucks for the former Hoosier. He can play the 4, though, but I guess they like Guy Santos better, I guess. And Guy's not bad, honestly. Anyways, I like the Kings in this spot. Zach LaVine's a great scorer, obviously. Malik at the 1, I think, again, that was something that's going to need time, obviously, for Sacramento. But hell, they're coming off a game where Zach LaVine scored 32 points and 10 assists. They did lose, but they were doing pretty well, obviously, prior to that in the LaVine era. And oh, by the way, yeah, it's Domantas Sabonis with 28 rebounds in their loss to the Pelicans last Thursday. I guess a week from yesterday. They'll be fine. Again, I think Domas dominates the matchup with Draymond. I get it. That's a physical matchup. Maybe some elbows will be thrown, but I do think Domas wins it. And I think ultimately, again, that's what's going to propel the Kings to victory. I like the Kings in this late night spot, plus 105 on the money line. We like them as dogs at home. Give me the Sacramento Kings to win at home here against the Golden State Warriors. So folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions here for February 21st. If you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more NBA predictions, and make sure to join us again for our college basketball best bets and our UFC predictions in the description down below. Obviously, those videos are linked. So folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.